Good evening and welcome to Breaking Views on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Ladies and gentlemen, just yesterday, a high-paced turn of events put Aam Aadmi Party on the back foot. Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Chief Minister, had moved the Supreme Court after his arrest, challenging the very grounds on which he was arrested. The Supreme Court did not give him any relief, and post that there was one after another surprising turn of events, starting with the resignation letter of Manish Sisodia and his colleague who already is in jail for the last almost 10 months, Satyendar Jain. Both of them resigned. Manish Sisodia in his resignation letter said that he is going to come out clean as far as this entire, what he said, a vendetta against work of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, after the Supreme Court setback, at least that is how it is being looked at, Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal possibly had no other option but to get fresh faces in the cabinet. But to talk about talk more about the legal ramifications, what was the thought behind moving Supreme Court, and what had happened in the Supreme Court, and how big a setback it is to Manish Sisodia, and the larger question of opposition being targeted, the allegations of opposition being targeted by the agency at the behest of the government, I am now being joined by one of the sharpest legal mind in the country, top lawyer, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who represented Manish Sisodia in the top court. Mr. Singhvi is joining us at this moment. Mr. Singhvi, thank you so much, sir, for speaking to NDTV. I want to start by asking you, sir, you represented Manish Sisodia and in the Supreme Court, sir, which did not favor your argument. Now, the BJP is citing Manish Sisodia's case as, the political party or a person who is now facing the heat of the agencies as playing the victim card. What do you have to say about that, sir?
You see, I'd much rather, I'm not speaking to you in my capacity as a congressman at all, as far as Manish Sisodia's case is concerned. It's a professional engagement. I just happen to be appearing for him, as I do for many cases. Now,
right.
As far as a professional response to that is concerned, before I come to the larger political question, which I'll gladly answer, but not in the Manish Sisodia context. The professional response to the narrower Manish Sisodia question is this, that on the merits, what we argued is all that I can tell you, but that argument has merely been transferred to the trial court or the high court. Obviously, the media is a little superficial in saying dismissed or not accepted. Yes, in a manner of speaking, yes, but all that the court said is, look, Mr. Singhvi, you have an alternative remedy. We are here. At this stage, this is not the remedy, which we all know. There is a trial court, there is a hierarchy of a ladder, there is a high court, and then there is a Supreme Court. So they said you go where you can go. And they added the word at this stage, which means that ultimately, if we are unsuccessful, we'll come back here. That's one. So there is no decision of any kind, direct or implied, on the merits. It is not a rejection of his bail request on the merits. The points of asking, and this is only by way of contention or argument. I am not defending him. I am not supporting him. I'm not speaking about Manish Sisodia. I'm only explaining to you the nature of the arguments. Before I come to a larger question of the political field. The nature of the arguments are, one, that he is not in the charge sheet named. Two, this proceeding started in August 22. Three is a very important legal facet. The legal facet is, if some proceeding is going on since August, and there are only 2 occasions on which you have called me. The total times you've called me are twice. I have been there. I've spent 7, 8, 6 hours each time with you. Then you have to demonstrate a urgent necessity, imperativeness of arrest. Number 4, this imperativeness and urgent necessity of arrest can only arise if the triple test is not satisfied. The triple test is, Ankit Tyagi is about to flee, is no flight risk. Ankit Tyagi is going to suborn or interfere with witnesses or documentary evidence. Now, there cannot be a flight risk issue for a minister with roots in society. There cannot be interference with witnesses after 8 months. Okay. In any case, most of the evidence is documentary. Third is that I am not cooperating, in the sense I am not coming when summoned. Now, all 3 are not made out. Then comes the 5th aspect, which is weird. It's a point unknown to law. The CBI says that, look, when we interrogated Ankit Tyagi, he was not giving satisfactory answers or he was not cooperating. Now, this is something which is ridiculous. In law, I am not supposed to incriminate myself. In law, I am not supposed to answer yes. If the policeman asks me, are you guilty? And if I try and avoid. So therefore, answers, what I give, how I give, how much I give are my prerogative. As an accused, I can choose not to answer fully. That can't be a ground of arrest. So long as I am not suborning witnesses, not running away, not a flight risk, and I am coming to your summons. So these were the points we made, apart from the fact that the offence is less than 7 years under Prevention of Corruption Act, which requires a demonstration of the urgent necessity that investigation is impeded without arrest.
Okay.
So these we felt were sufficient ground, but the court did not decide any of them. They said all of these you can raise in the trial court, please go there. What will happen there, I don't know, but it will go there.
Right, but sir, you are a very experienced hand. So you do understand that you already knew that there was this legal ladder to be followed. Mr. Singhvi, the Supreme Court did not find your case fit for intervention at this moment, and that is what you were saying. But isn't this a setback for Mr. Sisodia? And why I'm saying that? Because right after that, he had to resign. I mean, it was a turn of events that took place after the Supreme Court hearing.
No, I have not. I told you I'm not getting into the facts of Manish Sisodia. I'm his lawyer. I appeared. Obviously, there is no setback on merits because it is sent back. Obviously, if you think that there is a delay in the Supreme Court not deciding it, then there is a setback.
Okay.
Supreme Court probably does not decide it. We tried to suggest to the Supreme Court that this is requiring some exceptional treatment. They did not agree. We went back. That's all.
Okay. Mr. Singhvi, I was going through your speech that you made at the Congress Party's plenary session in Raipur, where you spoke about the alleged misuse of the agencies under the current regime, especially against the political opposition. Now, a lot of people, not just from the BJP, may argue that this is just a smokescreen on the government, opposition trying to, in fact, invoke this smokescreen on the government, which is aggressively going after the corrupt in the political system.
See, Ankit, according to me, this is a far more important, principled question of a far more all India nature, and it requires a nuance. It will take me a couple of minutes to explain to you and your viewers. What I said at Raipur when I spoke in Hindi for almost 10-15 minutes was the following, and this is a nuanced approach which I'd like to for your viewers to consider. There are three facets which have come out in figures and facts. These three facets have been published by all of you in the public domain. Press conference has been taken. Fact one, they are facts, are not facets, I'm sorry. Undeniable facts. Post 2014, fact one, the number of ED and CBI incursions have increased manifold by 100, 200, 1000%. So 100 has become 1000 in numbers. So if you had 100 cases pre-2014 annually, you'd have 1000 now. I'm giving a ratio, I'm not giving exact figure. Undeniable. Two, 95% of that enhanced figure of 1000 will be against 95, possibly 98, but 95% against opposition leaders. Fact three, that those opposition leaders who have had these cases and the few of them who have changed sides, having gone through the BJP laundry machine, are kosher. The pending cases against them are not prosecuted, not accelerated, not pushed. Now, if you add up these three facts, what I said in Raipur was, this gives you a very strong reason for a legal coalition of political parties across the political spectrum. Of course, there should be a political coalition in the long run before 2024, so that vote division does not benefit the BJP. That's my very clear belief. Mr. Modi at his best performance doesn't vote more than 39%, which means 61% people vote against him. If 80% of those 61 are consolidated in a national election, then BJP will be in trouble. So, but before that political coalitions don't happen because of ego, because of problems, because of regional considerations, etc. Before that, I said, why not try a legal coalition where the top 10, 15 parties in this country, obviously non-BJP, non-NDA, approach the Supreme Court in a collective single action, pointing out that, look, these three facets, which I've told you, facts in fact,
Okay.
up to a non-level, uneven, discriminatory playing field. A non-level discriminatory playing field affects democracy itself. If you start arresting in an uneven, discriminatory manner opposition people like this, or increase the number of cases, of which 95% are against Ankit Tyagi in the opposition, then it skews the democratic level playing field. Once it skews, it affects democracy itself, which is part of the basic structure. So this would be a legal coming together of the opposition, I would advocate, which is what I said in Raipur.
Sir, it's a very new kind of coalition and concept that you are presenting in front of the opposition parties. But let me just take you back a few days back in the parliament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said, ED brought all the corrupt together. Don't you think your entire idea of this legal coalition of the opposition parties going to the Supreme Court, challenging the government, it is only going to give more benefit to the BJP? It will reinforce the attack of the Prime Minister.
I am officially reinforcing, not his attack. I am officially reinforcing the point which is actually a point against the BJP. If you give a simple figure, Ankit, if I was in Parliament replying to the Honorable Prime Minister, and I always use words of great respect because he's after all the Prime Minister of the country, I would have said, Mr. Prime Minister, we are not against the ED, CBI, IT coalition. We are only asking a simple question. Does ED, IT and CBI only like a Nelson's blind eye see only this side of the room? It doesn't see that side of the room. This side of the room where 95% of us are sitting. That is therefore discriminatory, therefore that is anti-democratic. Therefore what we are doing is, you are putting pressure in the democratic polity on one class. That will hit the basic structure. So if the Honorable Prime Minister believes that the point in his favor, I think the very same point applies directly against him and the BJP.
Okay. But Mr. Singhvi, you're talking about a legal coalition. But, with even political understanding or common ground, we have seen how difficult it is to achieve at this moment as far as the opposition parties are concerned. I mean, I'll just give you an example of what happened. Today, Mr. Stalin's birthday, it turned into an occasion of opposition unity. Who came to this birthday party did not make news, but who did not did in fact become the top headline. Mr. Sisodia, who you represented, the Congress party in Delhi, the party which you belong to, is supporting this arrest. Don't you think that it is, there are too many contradictions as far as this coming together legally or politically, this whole concept is concerned?
Absolutely. And that is the contradiction, that is the challenge you must iron out in the next few months. Next few weeks, I would say. I agree. I said it is not. That's the political coalition which you're talking about, which is not happening for a variety of reasons. But let me tell you, whether I attend your birthday or not is cosmetic. It is of no real use for or against Mr. Modi if I attend your birthday or not. What is of use against the BJP if you are genuinely wanting to fight the BJP is that if you cannot jump onto a political coalition in a hurry because of, as I said, of egos, differences, regional considerations, at least start with a convergence, which is a legal convergence.
Okay.
The legal convergence, the possibilities of differences and ego will be lesser. And the legal convergence will be based on fact. Why is it that only Mr. Stalin or any party? Now, I am not talking of Manish Sisodia's case. That's an individual case. I'm not talking of that at all.
Has there been any takers for your suggestion? Have you found any response to your suggestion of legal coalition?
I can only speak about it. I can push it. Obviously, the response has to be across the spectrum, but I don't think I am saying anything objectionable, wrong. You have to decide. Look, let's be clear. Now, let's mix up the legal coalition and the political coalition. They ultimately have the same object. You have to be clear. Who is the bigger enemy? Point one. Two, is there any major state election before 24 which makes a political coalition or a legal coalition impossible? Fortunately, no. Three, if you were to divide the 61% vote amongst 10 parties, or if you were to coalesce and consolidate 90% of that 61, which is better? Tell me the basic logic. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to tell me. Well, if that is so, then what is wrong? At least try. Now, I'm not saying that it's the burden on me only, it's the burden on you only. I'm saying it for the nation, that people who are self-professedly for this cannot be, hesitant to start some process to it, whether you call it legal process first, leading on to political, or simultaneous, or if you like, political first and legal second. But I believe that political is not happening so fast, so let's start with something which may happen.
Right. Mr. Singhvi, before I let you go, sir, because you have represented Mr. Sisodia in the Supreme Court, let me ask you one more question on him. What is the advice, legal advice that you have given to him? What's the next move for Mr. Sisodia?
No, I don't think I am here to share legally, professionally privileged conversations. And that is something totally different. I'm more interested in the larger issue, which I just spoke about. And I spoke about it right.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Singhvi, for joining us on the broadcast. Always a pleasure to have you and share your, in fact, point of view with our viewers. Now, moving on, ladies and gentlemen, with Manish Sisodia and Satyendar Jain both now out of the Delhi cabinet, two new fresh faces have been brought in. But this happened at a time when the Bharatiya Janata Party, after sensing some sort of victory as far as the Kejriwal cabinet is concerned. Now, look at this. Sisodia out, Saurabh Bhardwaj and Atishi in. Arvind Kejriwal, what is the next move for him? That's the larger question that we'll be dealing with. But specifically, today the Bharatiya Janata Party came out and attacked Arvind Kejriwal. They are now gunning for Arvind Kejriwal, asking, in fact, for his resignation. Has the resignation and incarceration of both these leaders, one in the custody of the CBI so far, other one in the prison, has it opened Arvind Kejriwal to these attacks? Is he more vulnerable now than he ever was? That's the question. And what next for the Aam Aadmi Party? Because the BJP hit the streets today protesting, asking for resignation of Arvind Kejriwal. Let's listen in to what the BJP said.
The kingpin of the excise policy scam, the most corrupt Arvind Kejriwal, yet again has played with the constitution, and then this resignation letter surfaced without any date. The resignation letter of the other corrupt minister is also to be examined. Arvind Kejriwal, aap istifa kab denge?
For the first time after his most trusted colleague was sent behind bars or was caught by the investigating agencies, Arvind Kejriwal came out today, all guns blazing. Listen in.
आदमी पार्टी आंधी है, आंधी। अब ये किसी के रोके रुकने वाली नहीं है। No one can stop the idea whose time has come, and आम आदमी पार्टी's time has come. एक और बात उठती है, आज अगर मनीष सिसोदिया जी बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर लें, तो क्या वो कल उनकी रिहाई नहीं हो जाएगी? छूट जाएंगे, वो कल ही छूट जाएंगे, वो सारे मुकदमे सारे खत्म। आज अगर सत्येंदर जैन बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर ले तो सारे मुकदमे खत्म, कल वो जेल से बाहर आ जाएंगे। देयर इज नो क्राइसिस, नंबर वन। एंड आम आदमी पार्टी क्या है? हम क्या हैं? हम कुछ भी नहीं है। आज आम आदमी पार्टी देश के लिए जो कर रही है, लोगों के लिए जो काम कर रही है, वो जरूरी है, उस काम का फैलना जरूरी है।
So what next for Mr. Kejriwal is the big question that we are asking. Jasmine Shah of the Aam Aadmi Party joining us at this moment. O.P. Sharma, MLA of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the Delhi Assembly, also with us. Mr. Shah, I want to start with you. The Aam Aadmi Party, is it back to the drawing board? Because possibly the way both two important pillars of your governance, of your government in Delhi, the faces and also two most recognizable faces of the Aam Aadmi Party now behind bars, does the Aam Aadmi Party need to go back to the drawing board on what they want to do ahead of 2024?
Not at all, Ankit. I think your viewers better understand what really makes the Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party is not one or two individuals. आप उनको जेल के पीछे डाल देंगे तो आम आदमी पार्टी रुक जाएगी. Aam Aadmi Party is a revolution in Indian politics. It's the name of a politics which have, for the first time, has put education and healthcare at the front foot of our governance. It has doubled, revenues. It has made issues like free electricity and water a right for the poor. These ideas are what make the Aam Aadmi Party. You can change the faces. You feel that unless and until these people don't join BJP, I'll pressurize them, get them to join BJP, and therefore Aam Aadmi Party will disintegrate.
Right.
Did not happen. Our leaders are happy to go to the jail rather than, jump on the ship of BJP.
Okay.
And we have two fantastic young faces. I mean, look at the bench strength that Aam Aadmi Party has. Atishi, a Rhodes Scholar. She is one of the people also behind Delhi's education revolution. Saurabh, he's belong to the IT industry, exceptional professional backgrounds, and there are many such faces who will go
But
ahead
Jasmine,
and make
you
sure
could
that we
have,
deliver
you
on
could
the
have
promises.
found these spaces also when Satyendar Jain was languishing in the jail for the last 9 months. You did not do so when he was in prison. Immediately after Manish Sisodia, in 2 days, the party thought that we have to replace them.
No, Ankit, I think that's a prerogative of the party to see how these legal processes take shape.
Okay.
And to the fact that a very senior minister like Mr. Jain is still in the jail without any kind of a conviction from a court of law talks about rather the abuse of the process of law that BJP is engaged in. I'm glad Mr. Manu Singhvi talked about how 95% of all cases today by CBI and ED are on opposition leaders.
That's
Not
very
just that,
important.
people like Mukul Roy, Suvendu Adhikari, Hemant Biswa Sarma, all of these people were the ones that BJP attacked
That's
while they were
very
in
important.
opposition.
ओपी शर्मा
But
साहब,
they
आपने
clean-
सुना आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने आके कहा तो ज्वाइन कर ले मनीष सिसोदिया और सत्येंद्र जैन आपकी पार्टी जैसे बाकियों के साथ हुआ है, उनको भी आप गले लगाकर कहेंगे बहुत बढ़िया लोग हैं, इनके ऊपर कुछ भी केस नहीं बनता।
देखिए, राजनीति में सुचिता के नाम पर जो पार्टी अन्ना हजारे जी के आंदोलन के जरिए सत्ता में आई, यदि आप 15 से 20 का स्पैन देखें और 20 के बाद का स्पैन देखें तो पहली बार 2 इनके लॉ मिनिस्टर और 1 इनके सिविल सप्लाई मिनिस्टर जेल गए और आज 2 मंत्री 6 में से 2 मंत्री आज इनके जेल में हैं। लीकर पॉलिसी में जो भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है वो आज पूरा देश उसको देख रहा है। चाहे कोई भी डिपार्टमेंट हो, चाहे एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट में कमरे बनाने के नाम पे करोड़ों करोड़ का घोटाला हो, वाटर सप्लाई में घोटाला हो, वहाँ भी लोग जेल में जा रहे हैं, चाहे बसों में घोटाला हो, तो हर चीज़ में यदि इन्होंने घोटाले ही करने हैं और घोटाले करने के
शर्मा जी,
बाद में
घोटाले तो कोर्ट
फिर
तय
ये
करेगा ना
अपनी
सर, मैं और
तुलना-
आप थोड़ी तय कर लेंगे घोटाला हुआ है या नहीं हुआ है। यहां पर सवाल ये हो रहा है कि एजेंसीज जिस तरीके से सत्येंद्र जैन अब इतने दिनों से जेल में है, तो जो पूरी प्रोसेस है उसी को सजा बना दिया जा रहा है।
नहीं, मेरा कहना ये है, मुझे और आपको तो जेल नहीं लेके गए, प्राइमा फेसी उनके ऊपर कोई चीज़ सिद्ध हुई है, भारत का जो कानून है वो अपना काम कर रहा है, कोर्ट आपको बेल नहीं दे रही है, तो आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं कि हिंदुस्तान के किसी भी आदमी को उठाकर जेल में यदि कोई एजेंसी डाल देती है जिसके आप ऊपर तोहमत लगा रहे हैं, तो हिंदुस्तान के अंदर कोर्ट बनी हुई है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, हाई कोर्ट है, लोअर कोर्ट है, उनमें जब आप
Jasmine, respond to what O.P. Sharma
केस को
is
देख
saying
रहे
that
हैं।
there must be something. That is why Mr. Jain has not been able to come out. And same for Manish Sisodia. There must be something that the courts found that he has been sent to CBI custody.
I don't think that is true, and I think and in fact I'm glad he mentioned Mr. Satyendar Jain case, because let's understand what happened after he was put on absolutely frivolous charges. Still, as on date, there is no substantial evidence. He appealed for bail, and once the bail hearing was about to be completed, the judge asked very uncomfortable questions of these investigative agencies, the ED. And on the day the verdict was going to be announced on bail, which was expected to be in the favor of Mr. Jain, the ED's lawyer stands up and says, I want the judge to be changed. I mean, can you imagine? This is the way in which you are abusing the process of law. So from, a 3-month bail hearing had to be repeated from scratch again.
Right.
So that is what I'm referring to as the fact that you're abusing the process of law. And, let's not think anybody is fool. The entire country is watching today. The hegemony, the kind of lust for power that BJP has.
Right.
People have seen authoritarian regimes like this in the past. We have seen what happened in emergency to Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So people will respond. People
ओपी
are
शर्मा
angry
साहब,
today. Mr.
आप
Sisodia
ये जो आरोप
worked
आप पर लग रहा है कि 2024 से पहले आप नहीं चाहते कि एक बड़ी राजनीतिक फोर्स आपके सामने खड़ी हो, इस वजह से उनको डिमोलिश करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं आप एजेंसीज का इस्तेमाल करके, बीजेपी एजेंसीज का इस्तेमाल करके।
देखिए त्यागी जी, विधानसभा के बाहर हमने बार बार सवाल पूछे। आपने लीकर पॉलिसी का जो मसौदा बनाया वो एप्रोप्रिएट जगह पे जाने से पहले लीकर माफिया के साथ आप सौदेबाजी करते रहे और आपने कंप्यूटर और टेलीफोन के माध्यम से लगातार वो मसौदा उनको भेजते रहे। वो सारी चीज़ें सामने दिखाई दे रही हैं। आपने कमीशन
सर, वो सब तो कोर्ट को तय करना है, पर राजनीति के तौर पर आपको लगता है ये बीजेपी का सबसे बड़ा मौका है अब तक का अरविंद केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी के खिलाफ?
नहीं, सवाल ये है कि कुकरम जो करेगा वो जेल जाएगा।
हाँ।
और जेल जाने के बाद वो कहेगा कि मैं शहीद भगत सिंह हूं, तो शहीद भगत सिंह का किसी लीकर स्कैम के अंदर तो नाम आया नहीं।
ओके।
तो ये देश के जो लोग हैं, ये उनकी प्रति जो श्रद्धा है लोगों की, ये इतने घिनौने लोग अपनी तुलना शहीद भगत सिंह से जब करते हैं।
सो आम आदमी पार्टी से पीपल विल डिसाइड, गिव एन आंसर। आप भी यही कह रहे हैं कि जनता इनको जवाब जरूर देगी। जैस्मिन, आई एम कंप्लीटली आउट ऑफ टाइम, 10 seconds to you. Don't you think the Aam Aadmi Party right now feels little isolated because you never supported the other political parties, specifically the Congress, when they were targeted by the agencies? Right now you feel that you are being pushed into a corner. Is it time to rethink?
No, absolutely not, Ankit. I'm actually glad you asked this because chief ministers and opposition leaders cutting political lines have come in support of Aam Aadmi Party. You know, be it the CPIM, be it Shiv Sena, be it the Samajwadi Party, be it the Trinamool, across political lines, because we are not the only ones. Here, the democracy and the basic framework of a constitution is at stake, and BJP today doesn't even think twice before trampling upon such constitutional structures.
Okay. That's the larger point that Abhishek Manu Singhvi was also making, a legal coalition of the opposition coming together on what they feel is a targeted attempt to in fact demolish the opposition in face of a resurgent Bharatiya Janata Party or a very strong BJP at the center under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this very quick face-off on the very important issue of what is happening in Delhi. That's all the time that we have in this edition of Breaking News.